Okay, here's your help for Math 709, measurement and area. Before we start, there are several formulas you need to know for this test. So let's take a look. You're going to need to know perimeter and area for parallelograms, which are squares, rectangles, and rhombuses. You need to memorize. You need to know the circumference and area for circles, triangles, area. There's the right triangle. Sometimes you'll have a missing length, so you'll have to find the missing length. It could be this side or this side or this side. To solve it, you would use the Pythagorean theorem formula. And then you also need to know how to find the area of a trapezoid. So you might need to pause this and write these formulas down, because you're going to need to know these for the test. Okay. Problem number 1. Does a rectangle with a length of 6 inches and a width of 1 foot have a perimeter of 36 inches? Well, first you're going to have to know which formula you're going to use. And that was on the formulas you memorized, should have memorized in the unit. To find the perimeter of a parallelogram, you have to know the length, which they tell us the length is 6 inches. And you need to know the width. They tell us the width is 1 foot, but before you can do this problem, you have to convert your feet to inches. So instead of our width being 1, we're going to put our width is 12. Okay, 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 12 plus 24 is 36. So, does this rectangle have a perimeter of 36 inches? Yes. Okay. Problem number 2. The radius of a circle is 8 meters. Is the circumference of the circle 50.24 meters? Okay. So in order to solve this problem, you're going to need to have this formula memorized. All right? Circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. 2 times pi, we know that pi is 3.14, times radius, which is 8. Okay? And 2 times 8 is 16. And then you're going to have to figure out what this is right here. Use your calculator. 16 times 3.14, and that'll give you the answer to this one. Okay. All the dimensions of a parallelogram were multiplied by the same factor. If the area of the parallelogram went from 3 square centimeters to 12 square centimeters, the dimensions of the parallelogram were multiplied by what? Okay, so we need to know 3 times what is 12? 3 times 4 is 12. So the area changed by 4. That means the dimensions will be the square root of 4. What is the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is 2. So the dimensions of the parallelogram were multiplied by 2. Okay? So the answer is not 4. The answer is the square root of 4. Because they're not asking how much did the area change. They're asking how much did the dimensions change. Okay, moving on. The area of a square is 36 square feet. Each side of the square measures what? Okay, if you remember, the sides of a square are all the same. And if we know that the area formula is base times height, these two numbers will be the same. So all you have to do is take 36 and find out what is the square root of 36. Square root of 36 is 6. 6 times 6 equals 36. That's your answer here. Okay, problem number 5. The perimeter of a regular pentagon is 17.5 inches. What is the length of each side? Remember, a pentagon has 5 sides, and they're just wanting you to figure out what is the length of each side. If together they are all 17.5. So all you have to do is take, well, let's talk about regular. Regular means all the sides are the same length. So you just have to take the total and divide it by the number of sides, 5. And 17.5 divided by 5 is 3.5. So each of these sides are 3.5. Okay, 3 sides of a quadrilateral measure 2.5 centimeters, 1.8 centimeters, and 9 centimeters. If the perimeter of the quadrilateral is 20.9 centimeters, what is the length of the fourth side? So we know that a quadrilateral has 4 sides. Okay, so they gave us 3 of the sides, but now we have to find out the fourth side. So all we have to do is add up the 3 sides, and that equals 13.3. Then we take the total, 20.9, and we subtract 13.3. And the answer would be 7.6 centimeters. Okay, problem number 7. The circumference of a circle is 47.1 feet. What is the diameter of the circle? Okay, so we're missing this piece right here. We know the circumference is 47.1, but we're missing this piece right here. Oh, no, we know pi. We're missing diameter, so that's wrong. We're not missing that. We're missing diameter. Okay, because we know pi, we always use 3.14 in the place of pi times diameter. Whenever you're missing, whenever your unknown is being multiplied, to solve, you do the opposite operation. So we're going to divide both sides by this number here, because it was being multiplied by diameter, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide. And what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. That way we can, 3.14 divided by 3.14 is just 1. So it kind of cancels out. And then 47.1 divided by 3.14 is 15. So all you have left is D equals 15. So the circumference is 15. All right, problem number 8. The radius of each semicircle in this composite figure is, these are half circles. So the diameter is a line that goes all the way across the circle. And seeing that this is a square, all the sides are 2, 2, 2. So we know that the diameter is 2. If we know the diameter is 2, the radius is half of the diameter. So 2 divided by 2, because that's how you cut something in half. You divide it by 2, is 1. Oh, I put that in there. Okay, so the radius is 1 half of the diameter. All right, problem number 9. What is the perimeter of this composite figure? So we need to know this plus this half circle plus this half circle. Well, this and this are easy to find. They gave us the answer. It's 2 plus 2, right? Now we're going to have to add the circumference of this half circle and the circumference of this half circle. So let's just make it one circle, knowing that the diameter is 2. We can find the circumference around this whole circle by using this formula right here. Write the formula for the circumference of a circle, yeah. So we're just going to go pi times diameter. Pi times diameter is 6.28. Okay, so then we just have to add 6.28 to the two sides. Is that 6.28 is this and this combined. Okay, so your answer will be 10.28 for the total perimeter of this figure. Okay, next we have to find the area of this composite figure. So composite means composed of more than one shape. This composite figure is composed of a square and a circle. So we're going to have to find the area of the square, and then we can find the area, which here's the formula for the square, and then we're going to have to find the area of the circle. Okay, so the area of the square is easy. It's just base times height. The base is 2, the height is 2. It's a square, so base and height would be the same. So the area of this right here is 4. Okay, next we're going to have to find the area of the circle, which is pi times radius. Remember the radius was 1 squared. Okay, squared just means you're multiplying the number by itself. So it's 1 times 1. That's squared. 1 times 1 is still 1, right? And 3.14 times 1 is 3.14. So the area of this circle is 3.14. Add it to the square, and you get 7.14, which would be the combined area of this composite shape. 7.14 inches squared. You always use this symbol for area, squared. Problem number 11. What is the area of the following parallelogram in square centimeters? The formula is very easy, base times height. And it looks like they give us the base and the height. The only problem is they're not the same units. The height is given to us in centimeters and the base is given to us in millimeters. The answer is saying the answer is needing to be in centimeters. So we have to convert 18 millimeters to centimeters. To do that is pretty simple. You're just going to divide by 10 or move your decimal back one place, 1.8. Dividing by 10 just moves your decimal to the left one place. Okay, so instead of 18 millimeters, it's 1.8 centimeters. All right, now we can work the problem by going 2 times 1.8, and that would be 36. And because there's one decimal place, then you're going to have one decimal place in your answer, okay? 3.6 centimeters squared. Again, you always use this symbol for area when you're writing your answer in area. Problem number 12. The area of a triangle is 13 square feet. If the base of the triangle measures 4 feet, what is the height? So again, we're not missing this. The area that's over here all by itself, we're missing one of the dimensions over here that's with these other numbers. So what we're going to have to do one of those opposite operations to solve. Okay, so we're going to fill in what we know. The area is 13. The fraction 1/2 doesn't change. The base is 4 and the height is unknown. So we're just going to leave the letter H for height. Okay, we can multiply 1/2 times 4. 1/2 of 4 is 2. Okay, so all we have left 2H, and we still have 13 over here. Okay, this is like problem number 7. You can rewind and look over problem 7. but that's the problem where to solve for h, we had to do the opposite of multiplication because this is 2 times h. So we're going to do division, and we have to do it to both sides. Division will cancel out the 2's here. 2 will go into 13, 6.5 times 6.5, 6.5. So all you're left with is h equals 6.5. So the height is 6.5 feet, and it's a dimension, so you don't have to put the squared sign, you just put feet. What is the area of the following trapezoid? I wrote the formula down, but it's something you need to have memorized for the test. We're going to work it out right now. What is the area? Okay, base 1 and base 2 have to be added. This symbol here is not that exponent you're used to seeing like in the radius squared. This is exponent. This is just telling you that they want you to add base 1 and base 2 together. Okay, so base 1 is 2 and base 2 is 7. All right, and then the height of the trapezoid is 1.5. Okay, let's do what's in parentheses first. That's according to PEMDAS order of operations. And write everything else out. Okay, half of 9 is 4.5. And then 4.5 times 1.5 is 6.75. And if you follow it to, exactly, you're supposed to keep dropping down the A, and putting equals. So it gets to the end and it says A equals 6.75. So the answer is 6.75 square yards. Put the little square sign there. Find the area of a circle that has a diameter of 18 inches. Okay, the formula for area of a circle doesn't have diameter in it. But if they tell you the diameter, you can easily find the radius, which we need, by dividing 18 by 2. Half of 18 is 9. So that means the radius is 9. So we're going to go A equals pi times 9 squared. Okay? Remember, this square doesn't mean 9 times 2. It means 9 times 9. Okay? So then you're going to go times 81, and 3.14 times 81 is 254.34 inches squared, because it's in area. Problem number 15 says evaluate the square. 11 squared, that just means 11 times 11 is 121. Problem number 16 says find the square root of 256. The square root is just, you can use your calculator on this, but all it means is what number times itself equals 256. And I wrote some perfect squares out for you, and as you can see, the number times itself that equals 256 is 16. Alright, problem number 17. Between which two integers does the square root of 45 lie? I wrote down some more perfect squares for you. 2 times 2 is 4, so the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 16 is 4. And as you can see, 45, the square root of 45 would fall between these two right here, 36 and 49, because 45 is between 36 and 49. And the integers that go with those two is 6 and 7. So the square root of 45 would be between the integers 6 and 7. Problem number 18. Which of the following sets of numbers is a Pythagorean triple? Well, to know what a Pythagorean triple is, you need to know the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A, B, C. So 42 would be your A, 40 would be your B, and 58 would be your C. So in order for this to be true, we're going to work this out real quick. 42 squared plus 40 squared does it equal 58 squared? We're going to see. Okay, 42 times 42 is 1,764. 40 times 40 is 1,600. And 58 times 58 is 3,364. Okay, so then we have to add these together. We're going to get 4, 6, 13, carry the 1, 3. 3,364 equals 3,364. So this would be your answer for a Pythagorean triple. We can also check these, but I'll let you do that on your own time. Problem number 19. Use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing length in the following right triangle. Remember what the Pythagorean theorem looks like, what it is. This needs to be memorized for the test. We are missing A, so we're going to write the formula out without a number in A's place. But B is 48. We'll have to square it because that's what the formula says. And C is 50, and we'll have to square that. Okay? Remember what squared means. It means 48 times 48. 50 times 50. Okay, so 48 times 48 is 2,304. 50 times 50 is 2,500. All right, where do we go from here? We are going to subtract, because we're missing this leg and it has numbers by it. We got to get rid of these numbers. So we do the opposite of add, like we did on problem 7, which was multiplication and division. This is adding, so the opposite of adding is subtracting. 2,304, and we have to do the same to this side. 2,304. Canceling these out and making this that's a 4. 196. So A squared equals 196. The last step is to do the opposite of square. The opposite of square is this symbol right here, square root. And you have to do that to both sides also. And the square root of 196, you can use your calculator. You just find this symbol and put in 196. But 4 is 14. 14 times 14 is 196. Okay? And A times A is A squared. So when you put the square root symbol on there, it finds the square root for you. And finally, we figured out that A is 14. Problem number 20. To get from one town to another, Pierre must travel 15 kilometers west and 8 kilometers north. So west would be this direction, and north would be this direction. Not exactly straight, but what is the direct distance between the two towns? So from here to here would be the direct distance. So let's connect that. All right. Use the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side, knowing that this is a right angle right here. That makes this a right triangle, so we can use this formula. Okay, this is A. B, we're missing C. So we're going to go 8 squared plus 15 squared equals C squared. Okay? 64 plus 225 equals C squared. 64 plus 225 is 289. And just like we did on problem 19, the last step is this symbol right here. Remember what it means? The square root. Find the square root of 289. What number times itself is 289? The answer is 17. 17 times 17 is 289. And the square root of C squared is just C. So the direct route from town to town would be 17 miles. So if he could go directly from town to town instead of having to go west and north, how many miles would he be saving? Tell me the answer to that, and I'll give you a prize. All right. All right, that's the end of Math 709 study sheet.